What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the pre-match build-up for the game between Manchester United and Sheffield away at Bramall Lane. It's the first game back after the international break, and we're hoping for an absolute solid performance tonight. But before we get into the lineups and the kind of weird changes that have been made, a club legend, one of the biggest players we've ever had, has died today. He's passed away, Bobby Charlton. And I thought Andy Mitten put it best online. He said, Bobby Charlton saw close friends die at Munich. He helped lead Manchester United's recovery to become English and then European champions. For decades, the club's record goal and appearance holder. He was a World Cup winner and a European Player of the Year too as well. So what a life. Rest in peace to Bobby Charlton. Obviously, a huge club legend for Manchester United, and condolences to his family as well. Yeah, obviously, football moves on, doesn't it? It's one of them. The lineups, lads. Talk to me. Onana, Dalot, Maguire, Evans, Lindelof, Amrabat, McTominay and Bruno Fernandes in the midfield, Anthony, Højlund and Rashford up top. Aaron, give me your initial thoughts about that, wherever you want to go with it.
That was literally the first time I heard the lineup. Lindelof left back. I'm interested in seeing that because I thought in the second half against Palace in the Cup, he played left back and he did well. He was bombing forward. He looked composed. So I've said I think he can play left back. I know you're a bit sceptical, but I think he can do a job.
Interesting. What about the midfield, Troy? As you've got obviously McTominay coming in there, no Mason Mount, which is interesting. Do you think that's warranted given his performance against Brentford?
You can say in a way it is, but personally I would have still gone with Mount because I would still say that, Mount was a player who was getting better and better. Like, if I have to compare him game by game since he's come back, I think he was one of our better performing players in that midfield. And considering with the type of setup that Sheffield United, actually play, you need that sort of creative flair in that midfield. Probably, I would have preferred if someone like Eriksen would have played or Mount would have played because you need that sort of creativity against teams that play a low block. And we all know how Sheffield is going to line up, how they'll be looking to actually, play this game out. So I think having at least, Mason Mount would have filled that void of creativity that, Christian Eriksen actually brings into the team. But McTominay did get us the 3 points single-handedly in the last fixture. And I can still say that at least Sheffield, I think this midfield can still hold. I think Amrabat will be playing as that 6. McTominay will be given that, I think, license to move forward and actually be that mobile person in the midfield. Maybe it can work against a team like Sheffield, but it is, I would say, a lineup that might be in a fix. It might be, it might not be. It will, I think the first 30 minutes will speak for itself for this game.
Yeah. If we talk about that back five, Chivet, I don't know about you, but it doesn't fill me with great confidence. You think about Onana's form before the international break. Dalot's been okay, but Maguire, Evans, Lindelof as well in the back line. He's still confident?
Are we playing home or away? Are we away?
Away.
I'm confident if Sheffield is going to sit back, right? But then if it's a game where we're actually taking the game to them, then I'm fine. But if it's them coming back on us, then I'm not too confident. But it can be helped because of the injuries that we have in the back. So I really can't criticize the manager for making the changes in the back. Can you hear me well, Nick?
Yeah.
All right, okay, cool. But yes, I can't criticize the manager for the changes in the back. It is what it is. He has to play who's available. I don't know what McTominay and Amrabat are going to do because McTominay is effective this season up front, not like in the midfield position. Maybe he's in to add that extra sort of shield. Really don't know, but we just have to wait and see. But overall, the lineup does not fill me with any confidence. It doesn't sound cohesive. It doesn't read cohesive to me. It's very just patch framework and just put it together and see what's going to what will happen. And
especially when you think about rhythm as well, Chivi, after an international break when you've been away for 2 weeks and then you kind of throw this team together, it's a bit like, I don't know.
No, I'm not expecting a performance. I would like to just see the 3 points. Like
gritty.
Yeah, just win.
just be ugly.
Yeah.
I'll take a 1-0 penalty all day. I'm not expecting any performance. I would understand if we're shit. And yeah, my biggest concern is just the front three. It's Marcus Haaland and
what concerns you about that front three? They haven't played together really, have they? That's a starter.
Yeah. I'm very Haaland, big fan, like that, but Anthony and Marcus Rashford, like, I don't know where Haaland's gonna get the service from. Hopefully they prove me wrong, but they're not wide playmakers. Like, they're just wingers. Like, they don't.
Yeah.
I don't see any creativity. I don't see any sort of. You know how you have at Napoli, how you have Victor Osimhen, and then you have the whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a winger, but he's also.
Oh.
Just down. Trying to score.
There we go.
Is he back?
No, not yet.
Frozen.
Yeah.
Oh, am I frozen? Oh God.
Yeah. Just think about what the rest of what you was going to say. Trossard scored as well, Chivy, just for more bad news. Arsenal
should I just log out then? Because Arsenal. Fuck Arsenal.
I don't know what's going on here. Chivy, are you leaving us? Are you going out and then going back? Or okay, I
still don't know what's happening.
Yeah, Aaron, you mentioned in the chat before that the players, if you needed any kind of motivation at all, obviously Sir Bobby's passing. They can kind of use that. I believe they're going to wear black armbands tonight. It's going to be race put down and stuff. So do you think the players can take a bit of motivation for that? Was the type of player that he is?
Yeah, definitely. That would be my team talk if I was tonight. There won't be a big speech. It would just be, they all know the history of the club. Manchester United is bred on history. We drum that into players still now. Maybe not effective as we used to. But I'll just say, you know what this man means to United, and you're playing for him tonight. I mean, there's nothing more to it. But just going back to what Chippy was saying about the front three, I kind of used the analogy of like Liverpool, where Mo Salah was the greedy goal scorer, but Mane and Firmino were more.
I was going to mention Liverpool as well. Yeah, I was going to mention Liverpool.
Our front three kind of feels like, Anthony kind of is to cut in, shoot. Rashford, don't pass the ball.
Cut in. Yeah.
So it's like, where's the service going to come from? But yeah, with Bobby Charlton, we just got to go out there, play for him, and there's nothing more to it. Like, there's no. I wouldn't even over-explain about like what he's done for the club. We all know what he's done for the club. So yeah, man, just go out, pride of the shirt. Like, you should be for United, and go get a 3-0 for him or something like that.
Yeah, I think they can definitely take inspiration from his story. If you look at like everything that happened after Munich, the fact that he stayed there and kind of grinded it out where the squad was completely depleted, and then ended up winning a European Cup with him 10 years later. It's kind of that's the kind of
a World Cup too.
The attitude that you want as well. One of the 3 players, I believe, as well to win a Ballon d'Or at Man United. Is it Charlton, Best, and Ronaldo? I believe. Yeah. So absolute legend, that can't be understated, and rightfully so. People at Scoreboard saying rest in peace, Sir Bobby Charlton, you were my hero. Brian Casey saying rest in peace, Sir Bobby, a true United legend. An emphatic victory tonight would be the perfect way to honour him. Sam saying Sir Bobby Charlton, a definition of a legend. We've got Brandon in the chat. Vincent Bullock saying rest in peace, Sir Bobby Charlton. It was an honour and a privilege to have known you. And Lewis says our front three is wank. That's why. So slightly different comment there. Shreyas, on the flip side of things, just sticking with the front three. If that does click, if it does start to work with the talent that's there, do you think it could be promising, or is it still concerns for you personally?
I think when it starts to click, my concerns would be a lot lower, because I think right now we are actually I think this front three is overstressed. There is no chemistry, and the fact is, because our midfield right now is not as stable, there are much more problems for the wingers to actually combine the play for Højlund. I think once our midfield stabilizes a lot more, Bruno comes into his groove, and perhaps we start seeing a better version of this front three when it comes to coordination. Probably we can be seeing much better performances from this front three, because if I have to look the past few fixtures, I've seen Rashford actually over trying to integrate that passing ability and that chance creating ability into his game. in moments where, you would expect Rashford to score, he's been going in with passes, he's been trying to, cut the ball back. But I think it's the last minute decision making that is killing him. But we have seen, Højlund and Rashford actually combining to score goals. We have seen that combination actually being worked out in a quite, for getting goals in quite some fixtures. And I think it will still take time, but I still see the front three working. I think with Anthony and Rashford, the biggest problems with them is consistency. There is no consistency in their game right now. Once they are able to get that consistency thing sorted, perhaps we'll at least be looking at a nominal version of these wingers, because right now we've only seen them playing very poorly or them playing actually better and better every week. We have never seen that, stable spot where you can say they've not been that bad, they've not been that great, but it's still been all right. I think they need to find that, they need to find that ground where we can say that, it was still a novel performance. But right now, I think they need to, cover the basics and just, stabilize their performances a bit.
Shreyas mentions consistency there, and that's one thing we never seem to get out of Raphael Varane. I don't know the reasoning why he's not in the team, but you can only kind of presume that it's maybe another knock again, or he's not quite ready, and all this kind of stuff. Is that a big concern for you? Because he seems to be getting more and more injured at the minute, innit? And when you've got important games coming up like the Manchester Derby, and a few others, Newcastle and the Carabao, you can't really rely on him, can you?
No, when he plays, he's good, but I think it's just it's injuries really that's just plagued him. And do you guys remember when we did like the season review like 2 years ago in his first season? And I said when we're talking about players to leave and players to go, and I had Varane as one to go, even though maybe it might have been an overreaction at the time, but I just knew like. Because he's always been injured. He's been injured ever since he was in his early 20s at Real Madrid. And it's one of those ones where when you have a player like Varane, what you need to do is prepare for when he's not around. So it's good to have really good centre-backs who can come in and cover when he's not there. He's a really important player on the pitch, in the dressing room, his leadership, his experience. He's been there, done that, won everything that there is to win. So you need characters like that in your team, but you also need to prepare for when they're not available, and that's why we should have acted in the summer to get some
Kim Min-jae,
whoever, just someone who's all right, someone who's decent, who can really help us when he's not there, and someone who can step into the role when he eventually goes. Because to be honest, we'll be lucky if we have 2 years of forever.
Yeah, I think he's already on the decline now, really.
I think we've got a year at the most, so we need to get.
And if you have him as one of them subs that can come on and fill in a certain game, that's absolutely fine. Like experience, the quality that he's got, but as a starter right now, it's not happening. His legs are crumbling, unfortunately.
Basically, he should be playing the Johnny Evans role now. Like he should be Johnny Evans, right?
Yep.
Just chilling, but. That's what it is. We just have to deal with it for now. Hopefully, we can rely on Harry Maguire, and because me personally, I'm willing to give him another chance. Like with Maguire, I'm more than.
Oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
We might as well just hope the best. Oh God, am I frozen again?
Yeah, he's frozen. He's frozen.
Guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Cheers, Trevor. Appreciate it. Oh God, frozen. Well, hopefully we don't have as many complications in the game tonight that's like that, because it seems to be set up for a little bit of a tricky fixture. Even though Sheffield, the bottom of the table, haven't won a single game so far and conceded 22 goals. Sorry, I was doing a quagmire then, wasn't I? 22 goals in 8 games they've conceded and only scored 6. Aaron. So with that in mind, this should be not just we go there and win. You would expect us to get a comfortable performance, do you think? And with that as well, just that kind of second tail question, what players do you think are going to be key for you personally in this?
Obviously for us. You're talking about players for us, or you'd expect us to boil them away, but if you know United, that we struggle against a low block, so it's going to be how they set up, I feel, and that's where, for me, the midfield is going to be the key, whether we can unlock that, because I know usually we struggle. And when Eriksen came on, what game was it when Eriksen came on and we looked miles? He was just looked miles better with the passing.
It was Brentford, wasn't it? Because he took
I think it was
Casemiro
Brentford.
off for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He came on and made an impact. So I don't want to see late subs. If we're going in at half time and it's 0-0, but we've been peppering them and we just can't break them down. Get McTominay off, get Eriksen straight on, and start moving the ball, because this is like you say, you've read the stats. This is a team that we should be putting 2-3 past, and I don't want to see us taking too long on the ball, like loitering around. We need to get in there, and the decision making needs to be fast, because we take too long on the ball and we waste opportunities, or we'll be playing it sideways for too long because no one's got that eye for the pass. So yeah, we need to be proactive tonight. No late subs, no trying to grind it out. We get in there and we get the job done.
Yeah, I think you make a very good point about Christian Eriksen. He could have a massive effect on this game. And even Treyas, when you look at other players that are on that bench, you've got Palistre, who obviously you're a huge fan of. You've got Mason Mount, who can come on. You've got Garnacho, Martial, even Hannibal as well. So you've got some nice options on there. Who do you think can make an impact? Would you agree with the Eriksen one, or do you think maybe an attacker can come on in this game and make a difference?
I think Eriksen could make a difference in this one, because I think this is these are the sort of games where you would want someone like a Christian Eriksen to actually be there. Teams against, coming up against a low block where you need that creative vision, someone who can, deliver those balls and, into the attackers. Like, during the game against Arsenal, we saw the need to actually have that sort of a player, with the kind of pass that he made straight up to Rashford. And, we just absolutely killed Arsenal with that move. But once again, then that, side of Christian Eriksen is also overexposed, that he cannot cover that ground, which, you would expect someone like an Amrabat or Casemiro to cover. So I think with Casemiro, I would say, with Eriksen, there is upside, there is downside to actually having him in the team. But overall, I would still say, these are the sort of games where I would want Christian Eriksen to actually, deliver for us, because if he cannot perform against, teams like this, then, there is the question of, whether is he still good enough to actually have in this team or not. But except that, I think Eriksen I'm good with. I think Martial could be key. Martial is a wing, player who can play off the wings. He can play centrally as well.
Players out in it.
Yeah, and on the on the same side as well, he's someone who is able to link up with our forwards quite well. Something that we have not been seeing with Højlund, Højlund, Rashford, and Anthony or Bruno. I think whenever I see Martial actually dropping into that front three or front forward, whichever way you want to call it, there just seems to be much more coordination. So I think maybe Martial can be the key, but I think the obvious ones, if you have to look onto the bench and say that these players can have an impact, I think Martial and Garnacho.
Well, I just hope Ten Hag has the ability to change things when it's not exactly going right, just like you have done, by the way, with the overlay whilst you was making a point about the subs bench. So fair play to you, because that was mastermind, Doctor Strange, whatever you want to call it. He was moving pieces whilst he was talking as well. So multi-talented Treyas, absolutely bang on. For people who's wondering, is this the multiverse? What the fuck's going on the screen? It was, he's obviously a 3-person overlay now, so we're all good. And important to get an early goal, Aaron, in this, because if you think about how Sheffield set up, like you said, that low block, they're gonna grind it out. Try get to the 80th minute mark, nick a goal or whatever. So if we do get a goal within the first 5-10 minutes, that will set the tone perfectly, won't it?
I think it's key, because United, usually the way we go is against a low block. We get frustrated, and then we kind of just everything just goes out the window because we're so frustrated. Bruno's trying to force it, so no cohesion. So I think an early goal is key. Get a goal, get playing some nice football, because we always run that risk, like you say, of Sheffield catching us on a break, and with that defence a little bit shaky. They don't look like the two centre back have got legs. Well, like we know they haven't. So I think get a goal, remain calm, and kill the game off. I'd like to see a 3-0 tonight.
Yeah. Well, in order to have a 3-0, the keeper's going to have to do his job in it. And we've not even spoken about Andre Onana. We've talked about the defence, the midfield, attack. We've literally not even talked about Andre Onana yet. Obviously criticised for the goal against Brentford. He's been criticised unorthodox shot stopping. but which has worked prior to him being at United. It worked at Ajax, it worked at Inter Milan, but it's just not worked out for him. Why do you think that is, Shreyas? Why do you think he's had such a shaky start for United?
I personally think maybe it is the weight of the shirt. Before he came in, I thought that, with the sort of personality he had and the kind of season he had with Inter Milan, his relation with Erik ten Hag as well, I thought, maybe, Andre Onana is the person who can fill in those shoes of David De Gea, because yes, David De Gea made a lot of mistakes during the, end of his Manchester United career, but it will take someone very, with a very strong personality and character to actually fill in the boots of someone who's been at the club for 12 years and practically been one of the best goalkeepers for, quite a considerable time. And Onana has come in for De Gea. I think right now the biggest issue is the strengths of his game, which is his distribution. Even that is not actually being displayed quite well on the pitch either. Like,
hard though, Shreyas, isn't it, when you've got Evans?
Yeah, it is hard, but I know it is hard, but I think when people actually just view it on the basis of the mistakes that he's making on top of that, that thing actually gets a lot more overexposed as well. Because I still remember Arsenal were trying to press him for the entire first half, but in the second half they just gave up. Their attackers just gave up because he was able to just walk around with the ball quite well. But I think it does get overexposed. One of the biggest factors was that against Brentford they only had one shot on target and we conceded that goal. And it took us the entire 90 minutes just to actually come back into that game. And perhaps if you don't concede that sort of a goal, we probably could have seen a much different result against Brentford if that ball wouldn't have gone in. But I think right now the biggest question that I have is I would say practically the big, one of the bigger games of our season is coming up against City. And will Onana be able to, manage the atmosphere in a Manchester derby? Will he be able to keep his cool, be composed? Yes, he has come up against Manchester City before and actually had a very good game against them, but it's a different shirt that he's wearing. It's a different kind of confidence that he's going to be going in with. And right now he's got a lot of people who are, just waiting for him to actually make another mistake. Being a Manchester United goalkeeper isn't an easy task. You've got the media who are going to be targeting you week in and week out. I still remember that story where a journalist posted that Onana dropped his keys while getting out of his car.
Oh, fucking hell.
I mean, being at Manchester United, you need to deal with, that sort of stuff. And when a keeper is making mistakes, it does, it has an effect on his morale. And I think I don't expect him to just once again be one of the best goalkeepers on the planet, but I do expect to see an improvement. Like at least there is an upgradation.
From what you saw at Inter Milan, we've not even seen that in
we haven't because because I remember people saying that his shot stopping even before he came to United was that his shot stopping might not be as good as his distribution, but during the course of the Serie A as well as the Champions League, in both those competitions he had the most saves made by a goalkeeper in both those competitions, and he was
I was to say he had a better save percentage than Alisson and Ederson.
Exactly. Well. That was my next point. So I'm saying he was, when he came in, it was for me it was never a question that he's not going to be as good as in that department. I thought that he's actually a very well-rounded goalkeeper who's going to be coming up, who can excel in all of those departments. And for me, he was going to be the revolutionary signing that we made this season, because I expected us to play a very different way when it came to our back line and how we progressed forward. And I think maybe that's one of the reasons why we are not actually able to see the best version of Ten Hag's football that he wants to play this season as well, because all of it stems from the back. This season, most of it stems from the back line. And because that back line isn't
working, we built our fucking our whole thing on last season.
Yeah, exactly. And because of that, our midfield not having stability, not having players not performing as per expectations, and I would perhaps say the midfield has our most important players in that field in Bruno and Casemiro, and when they don't work, we struggle on the field. The attack, with Højlund, he's been doing good, but he's still very young. You can't expect him to put in match-in performances week in and week out. So right now it's just a mess when it comes to our entire line.
We've got more and more people joining the chat. Do leave a like on the video for us and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. We're going to have a review after the game as well, of course. I think there's me, Sam, and potentially Chivy if he sorts his fucking internet out. We'll be discussing and hopefully a win. Yeah, Aaron, what about for you? And obviously, let me know in the chat as well, guys, about Onana, if you think he could be successful at Manchester United or if you've already had enough of him. Do you think it'll work out for him eventually, Aaron, or do you think it's too many mistakes too soon?
No, it's a way back. It's still early. If he has a good season from now to the end, and we have a good season as a club, it'll all be forgotten about. Like De Gea, we all forget he had a shaky start his first season.
He did. Yeah.
I said that. Yeah.
He was getting dropped for that. Who was the other goalkeeper? Lindegaard or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. Obviously, we didn't know he was going to be the number one out of them two, and then De Gea made it his own. But I'm not sure it's a confidence issue with Onana, because the way he comes across in interviews, the way he speaks, he's
got character on it.
Yeah, he seems like he's like a pretty strong character. I'm just not sure what it is. It's just a shot stopping that doesn't seem to be there. I honestly don't know what it is.
Do you know when I did that Onana video, Aaron? There was a thing when he was at Ajax, sports scientists were looking at in terms of how he saves shots. They were saying it's very unorthodox the way he does it, but when it's timed right, and they actually tested this, it works. That his reactions were much quicker. And I think Nick Pope has a kind of similar technique. When rather than the stand, knees or foot kind of shoulder width apart, and they're ready like that, they're a little bit lower down, and it's a little bit more kind of unorthodox. And it's worked. It worked when he was at Ajax. It worked even when he was in the Barca academy. So for whatever reason, that in a minute, if you look at even Brentford's goal, it doesn't seem quite right when he's going for it. Yeah. So I think the United coaches are working with him on that in a moment.
But that's where him as a player needs to look and go, right, this isn't working. This is what I need to be doing. Because if he carries on and doesn't change, it's not going to work, is it? So yeah, I'm not writing him off just yet. I've been saying he should be dropped. I stick by that because I think it's performance based. You should play if you're playing well. If you're not, you should be dropped.
So would you have played Bayern Day for this one?
Yeah, honestly, I would have, because it sends a message, one, that you need to up your game, and two, it sends a message to the other players that are working hard in training that if he's not performing, you get your chance. That's how I've always thought it should be. But now I'm not writing him off. He could have a blinder tonight, and it's obviously he's turned a corner. So
I think it's safe to say, though, if he does make another mistake,
it has to be dropped.
Yeah, it's unquestionable. Then, isn't it? It's like you can't keep playing him.
I think. Sure. I think if it happens again, especially imagine if it happens during the Manchester derby. I think that he'll be dropped.
Oh God, no!
Don't say that.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
You've already put it into the air now. I don't even want to fucking think about that, because that game feels cursed from the get go, just because he's scarred from last season.
We're already up against it anyway.
That's what I mean. So I don't know. It just you know what the thing is for me mainly about this game. Yeah, when I saw the lineup, you just get a sigh from most when you tell them the lineup, they go. Oh, do you know what I mean? Where it's like I want to see. I need to see Lisandro. I need Shaw back. I need Wan-Bissaka back. Casemiro to be on the form that he showed last season. Rashford to be on the form he showed last season. And then Højlund to get a Premier League goal as well and start scoring for us. Because he's been fantastic in the Champions League. Top scorer, isn't he?
Yeah, he is top scorer. Yeah.
I think at the moment. So, I need a confident, nice game to watch. I don't want it to be... If we get the 3 points, and fuck it is what it is. We take the 3 points and we move. But I just want to see a bit of a dominant display.
It feels like we need that performance as well.
Exactly.
I know we had it against Palace in the Cup, but it's a different Palace. We need that in the Premier League. We need that first game where it's like...
Change. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the most interesting part, because our B players, I would say, were playing much better and much more composed under a Crystal Palace side. And when we played against them in the Prem and our senior players came in, they actually weren't even near to that sort of performance.
It was a different Palace side. It wasn't
completely different.
It was completely different, but I would still say you would expect United to actually, feature in with more confidence. And I think what we saw against Palace in that game was just the same blueprint that every single team has been using against us. Stay compact for 20 minutes. They'll get frustrated, hit them on one counter attack and just park the bus for the entire 90. They won't be able to break you down.
Well, that's three things for me, three key things that they need to do in order to start getting results. One's concentration, because they just switch off so easily. The second one is marking, because if you look at most of our goals this season, go back and watch any of them, I'd probably say about 80% of them are from us midfielders not tracking runners and being a cut back to the edge of the box. Simple
most
as that.
Most of them are preventable.
And that's basic shit. Like, you know, and then individual mistakes as well. So many, even pre-season. When you go back to that, what game was it? Where was it Dortmund? I think where they made like 3 or 4 mistakes and Dortmund got back into the game, and I was kind of just looking at it. I was like, fuck.
I think one was Dortmund. One was Dortmund. I think one was Madrid as well. One against Madrid as well.
Stupid, silly shit where you're like, just, you know, top professionals don't do this. You know, it's just like, it's so bizarre.
Do you know what's the most frustrating bit out of all of that? These were the same issues we had under Ollie. The lack of concentration, the poor marking, the amount of times under Ollie we got caught at a back post. It used to do my head in. And individual mistakes like Fred would get sent off, or they'd give the ball away in midfield. It's the same mistakes, man. And it's like,
another one as well.
Like, it makes me think, are these players only capable of so much? Like the likes of your Dallows, your Lindelofs, your McTominays, Rashford, you know, that have been there for a certain amount of time now. It's like, will they ever kick on? Doesn't matter who they get managing, because if it don't work under Ten Hag, we seriously now have to look at all the players. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Do you know what? I was thinking that the other day, because even like when you look at the first half, we played well for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. The same thing under Ollie. We played well. Do you remember second half FC? Oh, we played bad the first half, but we'll come back in the second half and we'll win the game. And now it's like the opposite way around. We play good for 20 minutes now, and then the fucking rest of the game shit. So I don't know. You might be right on that. You might be bang on with your assessment in that. But look, it's getting closer and closer to the game. I want to get your score predictions and goal scorers and why you've gone with that. Shreyas, have you changed yours from yesterday, or are you sticking with it?
Yeah, so I'll stick with 2-0. Mount scores off the bench.
Okay. And Højlund, you said as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Aaron, are you being as positive? Or...
Yeah, man. I want to speak into existence. 3-0 United.
3-0. I want to see a 4-1, a 3-0, something like that.
Yeah, I want a clean sheet.
Scorers. I want to go Rasmus to get 2. McTominay. As much as I think he'll have a stinker, I think he'll score.
Interesting. We need to watch out for Sheffield United on set pieces and things like that as well, because the organisation is going to be huge at the back. So hopefully we won't concede on it. I don't think we will. I think we win 2-0. And I said Mount and Højlund yesterday, but because Mount's on the bench, I'll go McTominay and Højlund.
Is Maino on the bench?
No, don't think so. No, he's not ready just yet. But he'll be back very, very soon. I don't see that pass, by the way, by Kobe Maino in training. I know it's only a pass.
Yeah, I did.
But a little chop. Like,
it's just good to see. It just feels, good to see, players, such a young player coming back from injury. Once again, I have very high expectations from him this season.
I just want to add as well, I want to put it out there on the channel that when I said that I thought Rasmus was going to be a nightmare signing. I want to retract it.
Well, it's still early days, isn't it? To be fair,
it was never. I never questioned the player's ability, and it was just a situation, obviously. But I think he's got character, man. I think he's got that in his head where he'll just run with it. So I think he's gonna have a good season
for sure. Well, people in the chat, let us know your score predictions and how you see this game going. I think it's gonna be tight, a little bit cagey at the start, but once we score, I'm hoping that kind of opened the floodgates a little bit. Shah Sam saying 4-0. Højlund hat-trick is also saying this might be the perfect game to implement Ten Hag's way of play. Yeah, I'd expect us to dominate possession tonight and just see a convincing performance. But how many times have we said that before and then we've gone and got dicked? So
I just think,
don't know,
before we go, I think the biggest problem in our team is I think we are at a big loss when it comes to having match winners in this team. Like if you look into City's team, you see it's not that it's just Haaland, it's just De Bruyne. They've got 7 to 8 match winners in that starting 11 itself. You look at Liverpool, there are countless match winners in that team as well. You look at Arsenal, for that matter, even if you look at the likes of a Brighton, even they've got big match winners in their team, even though they've just lost Alexis McAllister, and they've also lost Caicedo to Chelsea. At United, if I genuinely ask you to, who are the match winners in this team? I don't
Rashford
really
and Bruno at a push if they're on it.
Yeah, except that we're not even. I would genuinely say we've not got more than even 3, and I'm saying 3 when they are on their best day. And I don't think that I think going forward we need to be building on players who can be match winners for us.
Absolutely. Well, let's see who steps up and takes that mantle tonight, because fucking hell, we're definitely going to need it. Rasmus, let's get a first league goal.
Yeah.
And yeah, just keep continue to perform, because it's weird. We're kind of relying on a 20-year-old kid at the minute. It's like, give us something. It's bizarre, but yeah, let's go watch the game, lads. And then, like we said, we'll have a review after the game. Me, Chivy, and Sam, I think it is. Let's hope we're discussing a win, because it's Saturday night and we don't want them to ruin our fucking weekend again. So, cheers to everyone for coming on. Thank you to everyone for watching, and thank you, of course, for Shreyas for the multiverse work that you did earlier on as well. So, take care, and we'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace.